Welcome, MaxLove Project volunteers, friends, new board members, community supporters, and all other interested parties. This slideshow is designed to introduce you to the history of MaxLove Project, where we are now, and where we're going in the future. Our mission is to empower all families fighting childhood cancer with evidence-based programs that support healthy diets, kid-friendly exercise, mindful stress reduction, peer support, and healthy sleep habits. By engaging in these well-studied health behaviors, survivors can dramatically decrease their health risks and radically improve their quality of life. I'll say something real quick about our mission. When you look at childhood cancer nonprofits, across the board, across the country, and across the world, they basically fall into two camps. The one camp is probably best known, and these are the research-oriented nonprofits, so like St. Baldrick's or the Pediatric Cancer Research Foundation, right? So they fund research into cures, either cures that are going to target diseases that are not adequately addressed currently, or treatments that are going to be less toxic. And these are things that we absolutely need, and we support them 100%. And then there's another group that we would call palliative nonprofits. So these are nonprofits that are focused on putting a smile on kids' faces. So you can think of something like Make-A-Wish, right? And again, these are awesome nonprofits, and we support them 100%. But there's a gap that MaxLove Project tries to fill. And we are an unusual nonprofit in that we don't do research on cures, and we don't necessarily do palliative care, although we do definitely try to bring smiles to kids' faces and to childhood cancer families. But we are focused specifically on improving long-term outcomes. We want to support kids and families, not just during treatment, but for the rest of their lives. And so that when childhood cancer survivors are all grown up and they're adults, that they are leading healthy, thriving lives just like everyone else. And today, that's not the case. Childhood cancer survivors are at enormous risk, and we're going to talk about this later on, but they're at enormous risk for low quality of life and chronic health conditions. So we're going to talk about this later on, but that's what we target, right? So we want to engage families early on in the process in engaging in activities that are going to give them the highest quality of life and prevent and at least lower their risk for these long-term health conditions. All right, so this is who we are. I'm Justin Wilford, there on the right. I am the husband of Audra de Padova. I have a PhD in geography, and I just got a PhD in public health with a focus on disease prevention and health behavior intervention design. And so I do all of the program design and implementation and evaluation for MaxLove Project. Audra is our Chief Hope Officer. She's our guiding light, the visionary behind MaxLove Project. She has a master's in philosophy and education, and she's also a licensed health coach. And Audra, well, I don't know if I need to say anything more, because if you are already a part of MaxLove Project, then you have met Audra, or you know about her and all of the amazing things that she does and the amazing guidance that she provides to MaxLove Project. Below that, we got our core team: Jackie Stubblefield, Angie No, Paula Gewurtz, Lexi Hall, Blakely Page, Aaron Long. They are amazing, the amazing core that keep MaxLove Project going. Each in their own way provide a vital service to MaxLove Project, and without whom we could not do really anything at all. They are all dynamos in their own right. So how did MaxLove Project start? way back in August 2011, our son Max was diagnosed with a mixed grade glioma. We brought him in to the hospital to get an MRI because he was losing his balance. And the next thing we know, he is being rushed into emergency surgery because they found a large brain tumor in the back of his brain. After that emergency surgery, he was left unable to walk and talk. And here you see, this is a couple days after that initial surgery, and he couldn't move the left side of his body. He couldn't speak, and he could barely move that right arm. But over time, things improved. He had to go in for chemotherapy for a year and a half after that, and many other treatments that we'll talk about in a moment. But that was the start of the journey, and that was really the start of MaxLove Project. So this is Max a month after that, coming home for the first time, and still you see a month afterwards, not able to fully walk on his own, still had major issues with physical function, and was just starting chemotherapy. So we were told to focus on Max's quality of life, and that's usually a bad thing when you hear from doctors, because you want to focus on quantity of life and you don't want to have to make a choice between quantity and quality of life. But we were told that Max was going to be in for an unknown journey, and that we needed to think about quality of life in addition to quantity of life. And so we did. We immediately started researching and implementing quality of life therapies and lifestyle changes like diet and physical activity, and starting to pay attention to his sleep, and all these things that were within our control to start improving his function, his quality of life function right away. And then eventually we started to think about these therapies and these lifestyle changes as improving his quality of life for the long term as well. So the result of all this is that we changed the odds for Max by focusing on things like regular acupuncture, and then changing his diet, changing his sleep, focusing on regular, vigorous physical activity. Max today is a thriving 6th grade, 12-year-old boy, and we still engage in all of these activities, and we're going to talk a lot more about them in a moment. So this is what we didn't know at the time, right? All we were told was, hey, Max has a big hill to climb in front of him, and you need to start thinking about quality of life in addition to quantity of life. This is what we found out as we started to dig into the literature. At the time, I was teaching at a major university and was able to use the medical library. I dug into all sorts of childhood cancer literature, started to learn that the quality of life problem isn't just for childhood cancer patients, but it is for childhood cancer survivors as well. And so you see here on the left in that orange, kind of pink salmon colored bar, I'm not sure how it's going to show up on your screen, that is quality of life, physical quality of life, emotional quality of life, and social quality of life. Researchers also call it functioning, for kids who are on treatment. And this isn't going to surprise a lot of people. We all understand that chemotherapy and radiation and recovering from surgery are all going to have a major impact on quality of life. Over on the right, in the gray bar, you see those are kids who are not on treatment. Those are kids who have never been diagnosed with cancer, right? Healthy non-patients. And so we see a big difference between that orange bar and the gray bar. And that's not going to surprise a lot of people. But the middle bar, that bluish bar, those are kids who are at least 5 years off of treatment. So they're 5 years away from any chemotherapy, radiation, or surgery. And you can see that they still have a major deficit in physical, emotional, and social quality of life. And then we also didn't know that we were going to be facing enormous long-term health risks. These are all the additional percent. These numbers represent the additional risks that childhood cancer survivors face over the regular population. So all of these risks here are compared to the siblings, the non-cancer siblings of childhood cancer survivors. And so we see that compared to siblings, childhood cancer survivors have a 490% increased risk for death from lung-related causes, a 950% risk for severe cognitive dysfunction, and so on. So, as one researcher said, childhood cancer survivors in their 30s are facing the health problems that normal non-cancer people start to face in their 60s and 70s. Okay, so this comes from the cancer treatment. And these are risks also that we know can be lowered by engaging in healthy behaviors, things like diet and physical activity. And we look at modalities like acupuncture as really crucial for helping kids reach the physical functioning that is going to allow them to engage in physical activity, that is going to bring back their appetite so they can start to eat healthy foods, that it will help them sleep, which is the foundation. Sleep is really the foundation for all these other healthy behaviors. So this is what we started engaging in early on, and we saw really amazing results. So sleep was one of the first things that we got really serious about, because Max couldn't sleep when he got home from the hospital. So after spending about a month in the hospital, and anyone who's spent a night in the hospital especially, I understand that it is starting to get a little bit better, but back in 2011 it was not good, right? Lights beeping, people coming in and out at all times, and it was really difficult to sleep, and Max kind of got used to it over that month. And when he got home in his own bed, he was really afraid, and so he had a tough time going to sleep. Audra went to the store and got this plush turtle with a hard shell that projected stars onto the ceiling, and he loved it immediately and fell asleep. And so we thought, oh my gosh, this is magic. We need to see if we can purchase these at wholesale and purchase maybe a dozen and give them out at the local hospital. So Audra contacted the company, which was Cloud Bee, and it was the Twilight Turtles is the product that Audra bought. And she asked if we could purchase a few of these wholesale to hand out at the hospital. And the next thing we know, the company donated for free all of these Twilight Turtles that you see in the back of this truck, and we had to fill up our garage with Twilight Turtles. And then we needed to find a way to ship them out to other hospitals. There's no way we could hand out all those at the local hospital. We didn't have enough kids. So we ran a garage sale fundraiser with local friends and raised enough money to start to send out packages with these. Eventually, over time, we worked with the company to give out, I don't know the exact number. I know it's been thousands upon thousands of Twilight Turtles, and we worked with a company to make Super Max the Turtle, which is a turtle that can be sterilized. And so one of the problems with the Twilight Turtle is the plush underside was difficult to sanitize, and so in many hospital contexts they wouldn't allow the turtles in. And so the company made Super Max the Turtle, and we had a major campaign, sent it out all across the world, thousands of them to kids fighting cancer. And this was the launch of a lot of worldwide relationships that we have still today. And of course, we're still very passionate about Cloud Bee and the power of sleep. So we also started to fund acupuncture in 2014. So Max's surgery and chemo side effects were greatly alleviated by acupuncture and traditional Chinese medicine. And we saw the immediate benefits for Max, and then used our nonprofit to do several fundraisers to fund pediatric acupuncture at Chalk Children's Hospital with Dr. Ruth McCarty there in the upper left-hand corner. Audra used to be a professional chef. She has done many amazing things in her life. Being a professional cook is one of them. And she went to culinary school way back when she was a kid. And so this was one of the natural things for us to start working on with Max way back in 2011 as well. We totally rearranged our diet. We removed sugar. We started to find ways to bring more nutrient-dense whole foods into Max's diet. And over time, we started working with other families, developing community-based cooking classes that taught other parents how to use real whole foods to improve their kids' quality of life and long-term outcomes. So healthy, of course, is a lame word. And so we started calling our approach fierce foods, right? That we're eating because we want to be fierce. We want to be strong. We want to be brave in the face of cancer, and that food is an integral part of this. So as I said, Audra's background as a personal chef, and then combined with my background as an academic researcher, we not only did cooking classes, but we started to develop fierce foods educational materials to talk about the specific powers of specific foods, right? Why should we choose, say, broccoli over potatoes? Why should we choose eggs over French fries? So we started to talk about macronutrients and micronutrients and really work to educate ourselves and other families on the powers of fierce foods. And again, we developed these community-based cooking classes that we took all around Orange County in different teaching kitchens. We also do regular farm tours at Tanaka Farms here in Orange County, where we bring families out to the farm and they learn about where these nutrient-dense whole foods come from. And it's really amazing to see families and kids come out and pick strawberries and pick onions and carrots, and to see how this food comes from the earth. And when kids do this, it's amazing to see them try foods that they would have never tried before. It's really powerful. And of course, here are the educational materials that we've developed in the past, and we're still working hard on growing these. So we have our Fierce Foods guides, we have a guide about bone broth, and we have a whole program around bone broth called the Broth Bank, which provides families who are in cancer treatment with free chef-made bone broth, locally made bone broth. And it's really powerful because it's a great source of protein. It's a source of a special type of protein called collagen that's really good for the gut, especially during treatment. And it's amazing to see that when kids are going through chemotherapy, they, of course, lose their appetite and they aren't really hungry for a lot of different things, but they will go for broth. It's amazing to see how broth has this just attractive healing quality. We have a whole section on our website about the ketogenic diet in cancer. This is a special therapeutic approach for brain tumors and potentially other solid tumors as well. And then we have our Kids Super Duper Thrive Guide, which introduces kids through coloring and different activities to all of the healthy behaviors like diet and physical activity and sleep that they can engage in to be super. So throughout our journey, up to this very day, Max has battled several recurrences, and we've had to go through conventional radiation and gamma knife, and right now, as of April 2019, we might be facing some further treatments, and all along the way, our approach at MaxLove Project with these preventive lifestyle health behaviors has helped Max just ski through treatment and recover in a remarkably fast time. And as I said, today he is a thriving 6th grade boy. We also have a whole bunch of family support programs, some of which I've already talked about. We have the professionally facilitated online parent social support group. I have not talked about that yet, but that is a secret Facebook group just for childhood cancer parents. It is moderated by myself and Audra and some experienced peer health coaches as well. And we provide over 1,200 childhood cancer parents with emotional and informational support on that page. We also roll out a lot of programs through that page as well. We provide individual dietitian support for families who are struggling and really need that one-on-one support. We provide Thrive Kits. Many volunteers help out with this by creating the Thrive Kits and sending them out to new families who've signed up online. I've already talked about the broth bank. And we have hospital Thrive parties. So these parties, we come into the hospital and we do arts and crafts, introducing kids to various aspects of our programs through arts and crafts. It's a really powerful, amazing program that we also get a lot of volunteer support for. And then the Mama's Night Out. In the middle there you see a picture with Hush Hush Bang Bang. And so every couple months we do a Mama's Night Out where local moms in Southern California get together for just a mom-focused emotional support night. Just going out and hanging, providing each other with love and listening and attention. And it's a really powerful event. We have our culinary medicine collaborations. So we have done all these community-based cooking classes. We have these educational materials online. The next step was to figure out how to bring the Fierce Foods Academy into the hospital. And so Audra, with her vision, thought that doing a mobile teaching kitchen might be the way to do it. And so we've worked with various companies on finding the right mobile teaching kitchen to bring into the hospitals. We have done a pilot study. We did a pilot study last year on what it means to actually bring these things into the hospital. What are the safety concerns? What are the regulatory concerns? What are the things that the administrators need to think about, not just the dietitians? And this is our dietitian team at Chalk Hospital. We've also have a team at Willett Children's of Savannah and Diamond Children's at the University of Arizona. And so we are now in phase 2, developing a curriculum that will go with these mobile teaching kitchen carts as we roll them out across the country. We're really excited. This is going to be a game changer for nutrition in the hospital. Okay, so how do we bring all these programs together? As I've said, we have so many different things going on. We focus on so many different healthy behaviors. And in 2015, we worked with our medical advisory board. So this is doctors and researchers and dietitians on bringing all of the different health behaviors together in a way that parents can understand and in a way that would make it easier to start to work on these individual health behaviors. And so we came up with the Be Super 7-point action plan. So each of these letters in Be Super stand for an important health behavior that improves quality of life and lowers long-term health risks. And again, all of these health behaviors, there's a ton of scientific literature to back up their efficacy for not just for childhood cancer patients, but for really everyone. So the first one is boost yourself with super thoughts. This is about developing a positive growth mindset around your health and quality of life and your kids' health and quality of life. And really understanding that regardless of what the end outcome is going to be, we have the power to change quality of life, right? We have the power to make our kids' time while they're here, hopefully for a long time, but to make their time with as full and thriving as possible. And so boosting yourself with super thoughts is really about taking your health and your kids' health in your own hands. Eat super fierce foods. We've already talked a lot about that. The power of nutrient-dense whole foods. Sleep super peacefully. This is about the power of sleep, and I won't talk about this one because once I get started, I won't stop, but I'll just say this is really the foundation. Everything else comes after developing high-quality sleep. Unleash your super strength. If we could bottle up and put vigorous physical activity into a pill, it would be the best-selling pill ever devised. That when you look at the research, it's very clear. Physical activity improves just about every single health outcome for every single health condition possible. It is truly a magic pill. Practice super mindfulness. This one is really for parents. So we focus on parent stress techniques, stress management techniques, things that parents can do to manage their stress. We're not about getting rid of stress, right? We're dealing with childhood cancer. So we're going to be stressed and we're going to be facing a lot of stressors. The idea is, how do we manage them? How do we deal with them? And how can we be as resilient and effective as possible? And so this is all about developing mindful stress management techniques. Enlist your super community. Social support is, we don't normally think about it as a health behavior, but the research literature is really clear. Positive, consistent social relationships affect our health in real biological ways, and we can see it in markers of inflammation, in immune response, and metabolic function. And so we prioritize social relationships, and we also prioritize them because they help us change and sustain healthy behaviors over time. And when we are connected with other people who share our health goals, it's a lot easier to change and make new health behaviors and sustain these. And refresh your super surroundings. This is all about focusing on really easy, manageable things that we can do to improve the natural environment or to improve the general health environment around our kids. And so things like opening up windows when we get a chance, removing shoes before we come into the house, really easy things. We don't want to stress people out on, worrying about every single toxin in the environment, but what are some of the simple things that we as parents can do? And this is about refreshing your super surroundings. So I don't want to spend too much time on the Ohana Project, but this was a major study that we undertook in 2018 at Chalk Hospital, because we wanted to find a way to begin to develop a program that we could put parents through when they first come into MaxLove Project. And it would introduce them to not only other parents who could be their emotional source of support, but also health behaviors, the Be Super Action Plan, and would really launch parents into this new context of thrivership. So the Ohana Project grouped parents. So the idea is that we would group parents by child's diagnosis. So for parents who had children with brain tumors, they would be in one group. Parents who had children with blood cancers, they would be in one group. And this is because the research shows that when individuals share the same health problems and they are put into groups, that they connect better, they are more able to help each other and provide really unique forms of peer social support. So in this first pilot study, we took brain tumor parents, we put them into a small group of 10 parents, and each week they got acupuncture and traditional Chinese medicine together in a group. And then on another day, they came in, just the parents, to learn about different aspects of the Be Super Action Plan and do yoga together. So when they were put into groups. They were connected in a secret Facebook group. And so every day they were able to engage in activities that would teach them about the Be Super Action Plan, and we give them small steps to engage in the Be Super Action Plan. And so this is an example of what one day looked like, right? This is day 11. And they could choose from different Be Super actions to engage in, and then they would post in the group, and other parents would reply and encourage them. And so I'm just going to present a few of these results. So to what extent did the Ohana Project make a difference in your child's well-being? Well, most parents said a great deal or a lot, right? They found that it made quite a bit of difference for their kids. How helpful did you find the Ohana Project? All parents said either extremely helpful or very helpful. And how likely are you to recommend the Ohana Project to another cancer family? Every single parent said very likely. We also took what we call exploratory measures. So when you do a real gold standard study, you want enough participants in the study in order to make statistical inferences, or basically you want enough people in the study so that you know the differences you see are real. Now, this is a pilot study. We didn't have enough for that. So we just call these exploratory measures to really know if they were significant. We would need dozens more parents, and we'd also need to design the study a little bit differently. But what we saw with these 11 families is that parent emotional distress declined. So this is anxiety, declined over from baseline, which is at the beginning of the study, to the end of the intervention, the end of Ohana. And then we also did a 3-month follow-up survey, and we saw that it continued to decline. Parent sleep disturbance. So we talked a lot about sleep. As I said, it's the foundation, and parent sleep disturbance decline, which is a really good thing. So that means that their sleep dramatically improved over the course of Ohana, and that we were doing a good job there. And then it continued to be pretty good. The sleep disturbance ticked up a little bit at 3-month follow-up, but looked pretty good. And then child physical activity. We talked a lot about different ways that we can get our kids active, and we encouraged parents to support each other in this. And we saw a great improvement with child physical activity. And then this is a measure called pediatric global health. This is another word for quality of life. And so we see this improvement in quality of life from baseline to the end of Ohana. And we see a maintenance even at 3-month follow-up. So we were really encouraged to see these exploratory measures all go in the direction that we expected. So we also took what we call qualitative measures. So we just asked families what they thought about the Ohana Project. So what would you tell another cancer family about the Ohana Project? I won't spend too much time on these, but the responses were really encouraging. That this was a program that allowed them to share and learn from one another without judgment. It was so impactful, and it was a life-changing program. It's the missing link in healthcare. It was our saving grace. It helped bring us out of our dark place. It's a judgment-free zone. It's not a race, but a marathon. We talked a lot about that, bringing us to our best version of health. This was a growing period for our family. It was life-changing for us. Every family that has a child battling cancer should experience the Ohana Project. So we were really encouraged with that. And so our goal was to develop the Ohana Project in such a way that we'd be able to roll it out across the country. But these small groups need to be led by an experienced peer mentor. And so for this first group, I serve that role as the research director. But as we roll these out, we want to do hundreds of these at a time eventually. And so we're going to need experienced peer health coaches in order to lead these groups. And so we launched the Mama Mentor Project, which we are working on right now as we speak. We have our first cohort going through the Mama Mentor Project. And this is designed to, as I said, create experienced peer health coaches. We designed this program with a certified peer health coach trainer, a professional peer health coach trainer, and it's going amazingly well. And so we're going to start training parents who've been through the Ohana Project, or actually what is our next step in developing the Ohana Project, which I'm going to introduce in a moment. But these peer health coaches are going to help us really scale this out. So we realized that the Ohana Project wasn't going to be fully scalable. Not every hospital has acupuncture. Not every hospital has the capacity to do what we did with Chalk Children's and the Ohana Project. And so we wanted to develop just the online component. And how much could we build that out? Could we take what we learned from the Ohana Project and really make it as impactful as possible just online? And so we developed our 21-day Be Super Boot Camp. And this is a 21-day program for parents to go through, and they can go through these multiple times. But these 21-day boot camps are done in just the same way that we did the Ohana, where it's in a secret Facebook group. It's parents. It's only 10 parents, so it's a small group, and all the parents in the group share a similar diagnosis, or their children share a similar diagnosis. All right, so what is the purpose of this? Is to help childhood cancer parents tap into their best selves, clarify their own health goals, and learn from other parents just like them. The 21-day boot camp draws on scientific research to connect parents with each other and the best available research on mental, emotional, and physical health. So this is really going to be the next big thing. We've done one pilot study on this, and it went remarkably well. We have a few things to tinker with. We're going to launch it officially out to all of our parents in May. So we're going to be doing our first groups in May, and that's going to be after our Mama Mentor program. Our first cohort is done, so we're going to put these these new Mama Mentor health coaches into these groups, and we're just going to grow them and expand them as much as we possibly can. We really believe that this is going to be the key to changing the face of childhood cancer thrivership. So today we believe that survivorship starts the day of diagnosis. All childhood cancer survivors face a lifetime of serious, life-threatening health risks. But we believe that the statistics are not destiny. We're changing the odds for families facing childhood cancer with evidence-based integrative wellness and culinary medicine. We have a 15-member board of directors, a 10-member medical advisory board, and in 2018 we had 215 volunteers help with MaxLove Project. So based on our Be Super Action Plan, we have 8 unique community-based programs serving over 1,700 childhood cancer families in 2018, participating families in all 50 states and 6 countries. And here are the programs that we have now and that we are continuing to grow. And with your help, of course, we are continuing to grow. Here's our contact information. If you don't already know, please send me any questions, concerns, feedback. I would love to hear it. And thank you so much for joining us on this journey into thrivership.